All right, it is Sunday, Easter Sunday the 5th. It's 4:30. Says it feels like it says it's 46 outside, feels like 30, and I couldn't be happier with the weather because that just means the season is slowing down and will diminish the importance or significance of any infection periods we see this week in the forecasting video. So it's 2026, where we are right now, in my big fungal disease overview, where depending where you are in the state, you might not have even hit green tip fully yet. You might have some king green. And depending on if you're in other places, I've seen pictures of at least king tight cluster. So you could be anywhere and have any sort of situations out there. I feel like most people are probably approaching the green tip, which means we're sort of focusing around our copper. If we get big rain events, we'll go the Dodine or the AP Scalin Vanguard. Or if you're in 100% organic, I keep pushing that copper as long as you can and then switch to the biopesticides to knock it out. At this point in the game, I do wonder if there's any value in putting on urea applications. I don't know. It's been very wet, very rainy. If you can get in there and you haven't done it, I don't think it would hurt. I've often wondered, and it's going to be a research area I look into, whether or not later season urea can do anything. I won't try the dolomitic line. It's really heavy at that amount, but I will try the urea and see if that later inoculum burns out any mature pseudothecia inside leaves and prevents any ascospore release. But for the most part, I think you're done with silver tip, grain tip to half-inch green, copper. If you got these earlier phenologies, I'd still recommend going with the copper. It should be pretty safe. It's not too hot. If anything, we've already had the big ascospore ejection, but it hasn't really been a big 15%. It's been big events that lasted for a while, but it's been it's been hot, but then it got cold again, and that will sort of accelerate and slow things down really strangely. You could even do the copper after the rain if you had a lot of weather, and we're going to look at the forecasts in a moment. If you go into tight cluster and bloom, if you get a really big event, I recommend Scalar, Vanguard, and AP fungicide, particularly if it's gotten cold this week. If it does feel like 30, it feels like 30 to the apple scab as well. You can definitely use one of those AP fungicides. Limited use for anything other than scab. Great material, though. Same with Dodine, another really fantastic use where you can really erase scab from an orchard and really give an excellent level of protection. Work well in scab, not so much other diseases. If you're less than that, stick with your Cap 10 Mancozeb mix. Cap 1080 at 2.5 and Mancozeb 75 at 3 mixed together to get the best spreading and sticking. Or you can use a biopesticide if it's pretty light or you're running organic. That being said, if you're a full organic grower, tight cluster to bloom, try an organic sulfur. That's what I do. I like the microthiol a lot for my organic sulfur needs, just because it's been easy for me to spray. And with that, if you're less than that, just use one of the biopesticides. I always like the liquid products, Stargus, EcoSwing, Double Nickels, and many others that are liquid. Just easier to apply as well. And with that, I'm going to jump right into the forecast. Let's get rid of this window and hop over and take a look at Riverhead for the week. April 5th, it looks pretty good. I think you can have a pretty easy Easter Sunday. We're coming off of a big rain event, and this is what I recommend. You could come back with copper a little bit later and clean that up. Let's move into the Hudson Valley, where I have seen pictures of tight clustered. Probably depends on the variety. Pretty scary. Same thing as well. If you're already in tight cluster, I probably would avoid the copper application. But moving into the later in the week, I think you'd be fine holding out if you've had good coverage. If it's all been washed off, maybe wait till the 9th to put that coverage on. That's when the next retting event comes from, the 8th or the 9th. Towards the end of the week, I think you'd be pretty good to go for restoring your coverage. If you're really worried that something slipped through, then you go ahead and you put on your AP fungicide or your Celit on the 6th, and you'll get an excellent level of protection that'll last you to the 10th, and maybe get a little bit of kickback. You don't want to rely on it, but if you get some, why complain? And for Voorheesville, same sort of thing. If you weathered this and you didn't lose all of your material due to a lot of rain, I'm not really seeing a lot of rain log, just a lot of rainy weather in the last couple of days. If you've weathered through that, you can wait and plan your next application next week when I make the next round of predictions. Now, Chazy, let's take a look at those area. Still, we don't even have green tip. And even if you did, put it in there, you're fine. It's so cold up in the Lake Champlain area, you don't need to worry about anything. All this leaf wetness is just too much. You probably even have time to put on urea without a doubt and still go after that. Let's move into the Finger Lakes area. I've seen my own blocks, and they don't have... I have one variety. Pink Lady has 1 or 2 king greens, but everybody else is locked right down. So we're going to take a look at Interlaken. See how they look? And Spurt's telling me it's not really high maturity. You're looking at about the Finger Lakes area, 9% at most. We're moving into it a little bit, but discharges are less than 1, mainly because it's gotten cold. We did have some hot weather, but then it cooled right back down. And we're not even getting a predicted infection event for the lower to mid Finger Lakes area whatsoever. Pretty safe time. I would say, unless you feel like everything got washed off, wait till the end of the week to make that next application. Let's take a look at Williamson. Take a look at that one. They're coming off of a pretty big event. Almost 1.2 inches of rain. In this particular case, if you didn't feel like your coverage weathered it, this is where I might use a Sillet or an AP type of fungicide. If you use Scalar or Vanguard, it will pull out a use of Inspire Super, because Inspire Super also has an AP mix partner in with it as well. So it may not be a bad... I don't know if I'd waste my Sillets yet. I think I'd wait for the next big rain event, and I'd just use a Scalar or Vanguard, and then know it takes off 1 tick of Inspire Super. But if you were going to use Inspire Super later in the season and, use one of these up, use a Sevia instead, which just has the single group 3 and helps you laugh all the way to the bank and not use up 2 of your single sites. Let's take a look. Let's look at Appleton North. A lot of rain as well. Inches, but the temperatures for these events are really, really cold. 48, 42, 43, 47. Good weather for the AP fungicides. They like colder weather. They like apple scab. They're not going to do much else for you. If I was feeling like everything got washed off, I would put on Scalar or Vanguard, the 2 APs that I know, and have them in there. They're going to grab back if anything slipped through, kill that out, and then they'll keep you clean into the next predictions for the rest of the week. And with that, that should do us today for the forecast for this week, and I'll check in with you next week.